Hi, I'm Dr. Berg, and today we need to talk about something incredibly small but surprisingly powerful: cloves. Now here's the problem. Most people walk around every day dealing with low energy, poor digestion, bad breath, constant sugar cravings, and inflammation. And they think these issues are normal. They think this is just how the body is supposed to feel as they get older. But what if I told you that adding just one clove into your daily routine could trigger a chain reaction in your body that starts shifting things in the right direction? The question is, what actually happens if you chew just one clove a day and can something this tiny truly make a noticeable difference? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. Before we even get into the deeper aspects, you have to understand that cloves have been used for hundreds of years, not because they taste good, but because they have an extremely high concentration of natural compounds, especially something called eugenol. This compound is what gives cloves their strong aroma, their intense flavor, and their unique effects. When you chew a clove, you're not just getting flavor, you're releasing a burst of oils that immediately interact with your saliva, your tongue, your digestive enzymes, and even your sinuses within seconds. That first interaction is where the magic begins. One of the first things you'll notice when chewing a clove is that strong, slightly numbing sensation. Most people think that's just the spice hitting the tongue. It's actually your oral nerves responding to the essential oils. And here's where the first major change happens. Your mouth becomes a cleaner environment almost instantly. Many people struggle with morning breath or constant bad breath throughout the day, and they think brushing or chewing gum is enough. But gums and mints simply mask odor, they don't address the cause. The reason chewing just one clove daily is so powerful is because cloves naturally reduce the sulfur compounds that create that lingering, unpleasant smell. So instead of hiding the issue, you're addressing it from the root. But this is just the beginning, because as you continue chewing, those compounds start activating your salivary glands. And when your saliva increases, your digestion improves. Most people underestimate how important saliva is. Saliva is your first digestive enzyme. If your digestion starts weak, everything downstream becomes sluggish. So one small clove is actually helping turn on your digestive switch, especially helpful if you deal with bloating, sluggish digestion, or heaviness after meals. Another interesting thing begins happening at the same time. Your tongue receptors send signals up to your brainstem, preparing your stomach for incoming food. Even if you're not eating a meal, you're training your digestive system to become more efficient, and this is where the shift begins. Your system becomes more prepared, more responsive, and less sluggish. Many people feel this after just a few days. They wake up with a lighter stomach, less bloating, and fewer cravings. Speaking of cravings, this is one of the biggest changes people often notice from adding one clove daily. The intense taste and the natural compounds can help reduce sugar cravings, not because cloves are magical, but because they help support the balance of the taste receptors and the digestive rhythm that often triggers cravings. Sugar cravings are rarely about sugar, they're usually about unstable digestion, fatigue, or oral bacteria communicating with your brain. So by chewing a clove, you're interrupting that cycle. Now here's something most people don't realize. Cloves have one of the highest antioxidant levels of any spice. When you chew it, the oils are absorbed sublingually, meaning under the tongue, allowing them to enter your bloodstream very quickly. This isn't just about antioxidants. It's about giving your body tools to deal with everyday internal stressors. This is why many people feel a sense of clarity or lightness, even though it's such a tiny thing. But one of the most overlooked effects of chewing a clove is what it does to your airways. If you've ever felt congested, stuffy, or you wake up with that blocked feeling in your throat or nose, cloves can have a clearing effect. That strong aroma actually affects your sinuses and the back of your throat, helping them open up. Many people notice they breathe better within minutes. That immediate clearing sensation is your respiratory system responding to the essential oils. And all of these changes is coming from one small spice that most people ignore in their kitchen cabinets. But this is only the surface. Because what happens over time, when this becomes a daily habit, is far more interesting. Your digestion changes, your cravings change, your breath changes, even your comfort after eating changes. And there's a deeper internal effect that goes beyond anything you can feel immediately. Before we get into that, we need to talk about what happens inside your stomach, your gut, and your bloodstream when this becomes a consistent ritual. As we move deeper into what happens after that initial burst of flavor and stimulation, the real transformation begins inside your digestive system. Most people don't realize how profoundly the gut can respond to something as small as a single clove. But once those essential oils travel from your mouth into your stomach, they begin interacting with your gastric lining in a very unique way. The stomach is supposed to be acidic, strong, active, and ready to break down food efficiently. Yet many people walk around with a weak, sluggish stomach that cannot properly digest protein, fats, or even simple meals. This is why they experience gas, bloating, heaviness, and that uncomfortable pressure after eating. When you chew one clove daily, the first major internal shift happens right here. The oils in cloves have a natural effect of supporting the stomach's acid balance, not by increasing acid blindly, but by helping your stomach use its acid more effectively. Stronger, more efficient stomach acid activates your digestive enzymes more fully. This is the point where people often notice that foods which previously caused discomfort suddenly feel easier to digest. Instead of sitting in the stomach for too long, food begins moving through at the pace your body actually needs. That ease of movement takes a lot of burden off the rest of your digestive tract. Once digestion becomes more efficient in the stomach, the next part of the chain reaction affects your small intestine. This is where nutrients are absorbed. If food isn't properly broken down before it reaches this area, absorption becomes partial at best. Many people who think they have deficiencies aren't lacking nutrients, they're lacking absorption. Chewing a clove daily indirectly supports this step by ensuring food arrives in a more digestible state. Over time, the body begins receiving more of the nutrients that were already present in the foods you're eating. That means more minerals, more vitamins, more usable proteins. And with better nutrient uptake, your energy begins to shift. Because the body now has the raw materials it needs to repair, restore, and support healthy functioning. But let's go a little deeper. There's another major effect happening simultaneously: support for the balance of microbes in your gut. Your digestive system is home to billions of microorganisms. Some of them help you, some of them stress your system, and many of them thrive on sugars and starches. When those microbes get out of balance, you get cravings, bloating, fatigue, and unstable digestion. Cloves have natural properties that help maintain harmony in that internal ecosystem. Chewing a clove daily introduces compounds that discourage the overgrowth of certain strains that tend to dominate when your diet or digestion isn't optimal. This is why so many people report reduced cravings, especially cravings for sweets or refined carbs, when they start chewing cloves consistently. It's not willpower, it's not discipline, it's chemistry. You're reshifting the environment inside your gut so that it no longer supports the microbes that scream for sugar. What you experience as a craving is often just microorganisms asking to be fed. When that internal balance shifts, the cravings become quieter and eventually fade. This alone can dramatically change your eating patterns without you even trying. At the same time, your gut lining responds to the presence of these essential oils. Modern eating habits, stress, and low stomach acid can weaken the integrity of the gut lining, making it more permeable than it should be. A more permeable gut leads to inflammation, immune stress, and fatigue. The compounds in cloves help support the integrity of this lining by calming irritation and creating a more stable environment. This is not something you feel instantly, but it's something that accumulates with consistency. A stronger gut lining means less internal stress and more efficient digestion overall. Another fascinating effect happens when the oils from the clove reach the bloodstream. The same compounds that help the mouth, stomach, and gut begin interacting with your circulation. Eugenol, one of the primary components, has a calming effect on internal processes that create oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is something you can't see or feel directly, but it affects everything: your skin, your energy, your recovery, even how you age. When you chew a single clove daily, you're essentially giving your bloodstream a natural cleanup tool that supports healthier internal balance. But perhaps the most surprising effect is what happens to your blood sugar response. Many people struggle with unstable blood sugar without realizing it. They wake up tired, they crash midday, they feel hungry shortly after eating, or they get irritable between meals. These are all signals of a system that is not handling glucose well. Cloves have natural compounds that help support the body's ability to use insulin more effectively. That means when you chew a clove daily, your body may begin regulating its blood sugar more efficiently. Over time, this can reduce crashes, reduce cravings, and improve overall metabolic balance. And all of these processes: digestion, absorption, microbiome support, gut lining integrity, circulation, and metabolic balance are happening quietly, gradually, beneath the surface. You may not feel each one individually, but you will notice the cumulative effect. You might wake up with a lighter stomach, clearer mind, more stable energy, or simply the sense that your body is operating with less internal resistance. But this is still not the full picture, because the effects of chewing a clove daily don't stop at digestion or circulation. There are deeper benefits that influence your hormones, your nervous system, and even your natural detox mechanisms. As these internal processes begin strengthening, a new layer of benefits starts unfolding, this time involving your hormones and your nervous system. Most people underestimate how closely digestion, metabolism, and hormones are linked. When one system becomes more efficient, it automatically influences the others. Chewing a single clove daily creates a small but consistent ripple effect that gradually reaches deeper into the body's regulatory systems. And one of the first places you may feel this shift is in your stress response. Your stress hormones, especially cortisol, play a major role in how your body feels throughout the day. When cortisol is high, your digestion slows down, your cravings increase, your sleep becomes lighter, and your overall mood becomes unpredictable. By the time most people notice, they're stressed, The body has already been responding to prolonged tension internally. What is interesting is that cloves contain natural compounds that can help calm the pathways related to the stress response, not in a dramatic or sedative way, but gently by supporting signals that help the nervous system settle. When your digestion becomes easier, your gut becomes balanced, and your blood sugar stops fluctuating wildly. Your cortisol naturally stabilizes. These internal improvements communicate safety to your brain. The body begins shifting from a state of internal tension to one of internal balance. This is why some people describe feeling lighter or calmer after using cloves consistently. It's not just the spice, it's the improved communication between your gut and your brain. This communication happens through something called the gut-brain axis. Every message your gut sends has a direct line to your brainstem. If your gut is inflamed, sluggish, or imbalanced, it sends distress signals upward. These signals increase stress hormones, disrupt sleep, and impact focus and memory. When chewing one clove daily begins improving digestion and gut function, the messages sent to your brain begin changing. Instead of irritation signals, your gut starts sending signals of stability. Over time, this can improve how clearly you think, how well you focus, and how deeply you relax. Another interesting effect happens in your liver. The liver is constantly processing waste, hormones, nutrients, and toxins. But modern diets, stress, and irregular eating patterns can overwhelm it. When the liver struggles, your energy becomes uneven, your metabolism becomes slower, and your hormones begin drifting out of balance. The compounds released from chewing a clove naturally support the liver's efficiency. They don't detox the liver, that's a misleading idea, but they do reduce some of the burden placed on it by improving digestion and helping your body handle fats more effectively. This support allows the liver to perform its natural job with less resistance. Over time, people may notice clearer skin, better tolerance for fatty foods, and more steady energy throughout the day. These improvements aren't dramatic overnight changes, they're subtle, cumulative benefits that build with consistency. Now, let us talk about one of the most surprising effects of chewing cloves: the way it influences inflammation. Inflammation is something that quietly affects nearly every system in the body. When inflammation levels are high, you feel more stiffness, slower recovery, heavier fatigue, and a general sense of being worn down. Cloves contain compounds that support the body's natural anti-inflammatory pathways. This doesn't replace medical treatment, but it gently supports the processes your body already uses to repair tissues, calm irritation, and maintain comfort. This is why some people notice a difference in joint comfort, sinus clarity, or even muscle tension when they use cloves regularly. Because when digestive inflammation decreases and systemic balance improves, the body frees up more resources for healing. There is also an interesting effect on circulation. The essential oils released from chewing a clove interact with the smooth muscles around blood vessels. This helps support healthy circulation not by forcing anything to happen, but by relaxing tension in the vessel walls. Better circulation means more oxygen delivered to tissues, more efficient nutrient transport, and a general sense of improved vitality. But perhaps the most overlooked effect of chewing cloves daily is what happens in your mouth long after the flavor has faded. Many people struggle with gum discomfort, swelling, or bleeding without realizing how connected oral health is to overall health. Cloves naturally support the tissues inside your mouth, especially the gums. When your gums become healthier, inflammation in the mouth decreases. That means less bacteria entering the bloodstream and less internal stress on the immune system. This can indirectly support heart health, metabolic stability, and overall immune strength. At this point, the benefits of chewing one clove daily have touched multiple systems: your gut, your brain, your hormones, your circulation, your liver, and your oral health. And yet the most fascinating part is that all of these improvements reinforce each other. Better digestion supports better metabolism. Better metabolism supports better hormonal balance. Better hormonal balance supports better sleep and energy. Better sleep supports better recovery. It becomes a loop of improvement that begins with one tiny daily habit. But we're still not done, because there are even deeper effects that unfold over time: changes involving your immune response, your respiratory system, and the long-term balance of your internal environment. And these later benefits take consistency, but they're incredibly powerful when they begin unfolding. As this daily habit continues to influence your internal systems, a deeper transformation begins, one that affects your immunity and long-term internal balance. Most people think of the immune system as something isolated, something that gets activated only when you're sick. But your immune system is working every minute, quietly monitoring your environment, responding to stress, and protecting your tissues. What's interesting is that chewing a single clove daily taps into this system in a very natural and subtle way. The essential oils released from cloves interact with immune cells in the mouth, throat, gut, and bloodstream. These cells constantly scan for anything unusual, and they respond quickly to even small signals. When the compounds from cloves make contact with these cells, they help support a more balanced immune response. not by overstimulating it, but by encouraging a state of readiness without excessive activity. This is incredibly important because an immune system that is either too weak or too reactive creates problems. A balanced immune response helps you recover faster, react more effectively, and maintain a sense of internal steadiness that many people don't even realize they are missing. At the same time, chewing a clove daily begins influencing your respiratory system. The strong aroma that travels up through your nasal passages and sinus cavities doesn't just clear congestion, it interacts with the tissues lining your airways. Many people deal with constant throat clearing, morning mucus, sinus pressure, or that tight feeling in the upper chest. When the oils in cloves reach these areas, they help soothe the tissues and reduce some of the irritation that contributes to discomfort. Over time, this can lead to easier breathing, clearer airflow, and a more open feeling throughout the nose and throat. This effect is especially noticeable in the morning. People often wake up with dryness or congestion because the airways become irritated during sleep. Chewing a clove daily gradually supports the comfort of these tissues so that waking up feels smoother and lighter. But the most fascinating part is how all of this ties back into the gut. A huge portion of the immune system is actually located in the digestive tract. When your digestion becomes more efficient and the gut lining becomes stronger, which we discussed earlier, your immune system stops working overtime. This is critical because when the immune system is constantly overwhelmed, it makes you feel tired, heavy, foggy, or simply off. As digestion improves and inflammation decreases, the immune system begins functioning with much more precision. This reduced internal stress creates a very interesting secondary effect: more stable energy levels. Energy is not just about calories, food, or motivation. It's about how efficiently the body uses its resources. When your immune system is constantly fighting irritation, it drains energy quickly. When that constant irritation decreases, the body frees up energy for your daily activities, mental clarity, and physical movement. Chewing a clove daily may seem insignificant, but the internal shift is significant. Another layer of this transformation involves your body's natural detoxification systems. These systems operate quietly in the background, filtering waste, processing hormones, and managing toxins. When these systems are overwhelmed, you feel it in your skin, your energy, your digestion, and even your mood. The compounds in cloves support these systems indirectly by improving digestion, supporting liver function, and reducing oxidative stress. This doesn't replace what the liver and kidneys do naturally, but it does help create an environment where the body's detox pathways operate more efficiently. As this internal environment improves, people often notice changes they didn't expect. Their skin may appear clearer or calmer because the body isn't pushing as many irritants outward. Their joints may feel more comfortable because internal inflammation is less chaotic. Their sleep may gradually deepen because the nervous system is no longer running at a constant high alert. Sleep quality is deeply connected to digestion and inflammation. When both improve, your body naturally shifts into deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. This leads to one more unexpected benefit: improved hormonal rhythm. When stress decreases, sleep improves, blood sugar stabilizes, and circulation increases. Hormones follow. Hormones operate on a delicate schedule, responding to signals throughout the day. A small daily habit like chewing a clove may seem unrelated, but internally it helps restore the conditions that allow hormones to function optimally. People often notice changes like smoother energy transitions throughout the day, fewer mid-afternoon crashes, reduced evening cravings, and a more grounded sense of mood and clarity. At this point, the effects of chewing one clove daily are no longer isolated, they're interconnected. Every system supported by this habit reinforces another system. Digestion supports immunity. Immunity supports energy. Energy supports sleep. Sleep supports hormones. Hormones support metabolism. Metabolism supports brain function. Brain function supports stress resilience. And all of these improvements cycle back into each other. But there is still one more layer to uncover the long-term impact. Because the body responds not just to what you do once, but to what you do consistently. And when a habit as simple as chewing one clove daily becomes part of your routine, the benefits compound in ways that are both powerful and sustainable. As this habit becomes a long-term part of your routine, your body begins operating in a completely different environment, one that is more stable, more efficient, and more resilient than before. And what's truly remarkable is that all of this comes from something so small that most people never think twice about it. Chewing one clove daily doesn't feel like a health protocol, but over time, it behaves like one. It works quietly in the background, reshaping internal patterns that influence the way you feel, think, and function every single day. One of the most powerful long-term effects is the steady increase in overall digestive intelligence. Your body becomes better at recognizing what foods work for you and what foods cause discomfort. When your stomach acid is stronger and digestion is more efficient, your body sends clearer signals. You'll notice that foods which used to cause heaviness or bloating no longer do. while foods that don't suit you become easier to identify. This kind of clarity is something most people haven't felt in years, simply because digestion has become so sluggish that the body stops communicating accurately. Chewing cloves reawakens this internal communication, and that has a ripple effect on how you choose foods without forcing anything. The body guides you naturally. Over time, your metabolism becomes more stable because your blood sugar isn't spiking and crashing throughout the day. This stability not only reduces cravings but also improves your body's ability to use stored energy. Many people experience more consistent energy, not bursts followed by crashes, but a steady, sustained level that carries them through the day with less fatigue. When your body stops fighting inflammation, stops fighting microbial imbalance, and stops fighting digestive distress, it finally redirects its energy toward healing, growth, and repair. And this internal shift is something you feel deeply, not loudly, but consistently. Your immune system also benefits in ways that you might not consciously notice at first. Over weeks and months, you may find that you recover more quickly from seasonal discomforts, or that you feel more resilient when exposed to stress. It is not that cloves boost immunity in an artificial way, it's that they help reduce the load on the immune system. When your gut lining is stronger, your oral environment is balanced, your digestion is efficient, and your inflammation is under control. Your immune system is no longer constantly overworked, so when it needs to respond, it responds more intelligently and more effectively. The respiratory benefits also compound over time. If you are someone who wakes up with congestion, throat irritation, or that heavy feeling in your sinuses, the consistent use of cloves can support long-term airway comfort. Over time, the tissues in your throat, nose, and sinuses become less irritated, less reactive, and more open. This creates a sense of smoothness in your breathing and clarity in your airflow that many people don't realize they were missing until they feel it again. Then we look at the long-term impact on inflammation. Inflammation is the silent factor behind fatigue, joint discomfort, digestive issues, skin problems, and even mood fluctuations. When inflammation continuously drops, even slightly, every single day, the cumulative effect after months can be profound. You may notice that you move more comfortably, wake up with less stiffness, or feel less reactive to stress. This kind of improvement often sneaks up on you. You don't feel an explosion of change, you simply look back and realize you feel better than you did before, and you can't quite pinpoint when the shift happened. Another long-term benefit is the subtle effect on mental clarity. When the gut-brain axis is calm, when inflammation is lower, when blood sugar is stable, and when sleep improves, the brain begins operating with a quiet sharpness. You think more clearly, focus more easily, and process information without as much mental drag. Many people describe this as a lighter mind or a cleaner headspace. It's not dramatic, but it's noticeable, especially when compared to days when digestion was heavy or stress hormones were high. Over time, your hormonal system also experiences the benefit of consistency. Hormones respond to rhythm, not shock. One clove a day may not feel like much, but the stability it creates internally helps your hormones find their natural timing again. Cortisol becomes more predictable. Hunger hormones become more accurate. Insulin communication becomes smoother. Even sleep-related hormones like melatonin begin following a clearer pattern when the rest of the body operates with less internal noise. All of this leads to a final, powerful realization. Your body doesn't need massive interventions to change. Your body needs consistency, intelligence, and small habits that support its natural design. Chewing one clove daily may seem almost too simple, but simple habits often produce the deepest healing because they're easy to maintain. And when a habit is easy to maintain, the benefits can compound for months and years. This tiny daily ritual becomes a signal to your body, a signal of support, of intention, and of internal alignment. It becomes part of the rhythm that shapes your digestion, your hormones, your immunity, your breathing, your energy, and your clarity. Long-term health doesn't come from dramatic changes. It comes from these small, consistent choices that strengthen your internal environment day after day. When you look at the cumulative impact, better digestion, fewer cravings, more stable energy, improved breathing, calmer nerves, clearer thinking, steadier hormones, and a stronger immune system, it's remarkable that all of this can begin with something as simple as chewing one clove daily. And if a habit this small can reshape how you feel from the inside out, imagine what other small changes you can build on top of it.